Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really cool knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the new CJRB Ria. This is a small budget knife. Tell you guys right now, there will be links for this down in the description at the time of this recording. These are available. They are not expensive. They're between $35 and $40, and they come in a few different colors. I'll also be linking CJRB knives in general right down below. This knife was sent to me directly by CJRB Cutlery, so thank you so much for doing that. I'm really happy you did that. Please follow them on Instagram. They are doing some excellent things right now, as about to be demonstrated and explained in this review. It's worth watching them for sure. Thank you so much also to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you'd like to get your hands on some cool stickers and some other benefits, there is of course a link down in the description. You're supporting me in the world to me. And be sure to follow me on Instagram. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Not a big knife, but that's okay for a bunch of different reasons we're going to talk about. Overall length is coming in under 7 inches, about 6.8 inches overall. Blade length, under 3 inches. It's close, but by my measurement, it's definitely under 3 inches. That's nice. That's going to solve some legality issues in a lot of different places. Blade length, definitely, or cutting edge, definitely under 3 inches. We're looking at 2.75 inches of cutting edge. Nice. CJRB, that's nice. I don't traditionally like smaller knives unless they do everything exactly right. We got a lot to talk about here. Let's do some size comparisons. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall, so you can see there, definitely a smaller knife. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 is coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue is coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, the smallest knife that I usually carry, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 is coming in at 7.25 inches overall. Let's look at the blade or the cutting edge length here. Yeah, it's got a little more cutting edge than the Para 3. That's neat, because this is definitely not a big knife. Absolutely. Let's talk about the action. Action of this guy, how is it? The knife runs on bearings. Let's go ahead. Can we see in there? You can pick up my flashlight down in the description if you're interested in that. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, there's the bearings. So this knife runs on bearings. It's a thumb stud opener. At first glance, I thought, the thumb stud, it sticks up just a little bit. It's a little bit taller than the, the scales. I don't know if that really bothers me that much, but is it going to be easy to engage? Not only is it easy to engage, it's very pleasant. Very pleasant. This is one, I listed this in one of my favorites, in my video where I talk about my favorite thumb stud deployers. That's nice. That's really nice. And that little tiny slot, it's actually really easy to engage the liner lock there. And, would it be nice if it was a little bit bigger? I mean, you could say that, but what they've done here to keep the styling of the scales and keep everything kind of flowing nicely and just looking nice and clean and crispy, they did that. And yeah, I could sit here on the couch and do this all day. It does not, I'm going to give you guys minimum effort here. Yeah, the amount of movement it takes. I'm trying to fail a thumb stud opener and I can't do it, right? That's wonderful. On the downside, there is no spot to reverse flick it because there is no cutout on the other side. And that's because of how they've got everything flowing in the position of the liner, right? I don't think it necessarily needs it. Lefties, you're being left out here. It's, of course, that kind of stinks a little bit. This is definitely a right-handed knife. But the one means of deployment that it has, it does it flawlessly. And the fact that it runs on bearings is nice. It's very smooth. And even for a smaller knife, you can sort of just wiggle it shut. Really impressive. Really impressive for a budget knife. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So up against the Spyderco Para 3. Thickness, not quite as thick. So even with that thumb stud sticking up a little bit past the liner, and truthfully with the contouring, I'm not sure it's really all that much taller. In any case, the overall amount of item in your pocket in terms of thickness is not nowhere near the same thickness as the Para 3. Let's do length and height up against the Para 3 and PM2, which are a tad awkward in the pocket, and everybody seems to love them. Overall length, they're definitely shorter than both. And in terms of height, definitely shorter than both as well. This is just not a cumbersome object, no matter how you cut it. Am I still making that joke? Oh my God. Let's take a look at the inside here. So you can see that there are some milling areas on the inside there. So they have gone ahead and made sure that there was as much weight reduction as they could possibly do. The liners are full. They are not nested. I don't really care, because here's the thing. Had they nested them, I wouldn't have this really, really cool sort of, it's this optical effect where I can just barely see. The shadow boxing is so minimal, but I still get to see the outer rim of the scale illuminated by the hyper polished liners. They have really gone above and beyond with the liners here. Let me pull out another CJRB knife that I can show you guys to give you an example. Well, darn it, that one's not there. I wonder if I've got the crag here sitting out. Yeah. So here's what CJRB generally does. It's fine, perfectly acceptable. But the polishing on this guy, it's quite a bit more. Does that add a lot of cost? The knife, does that add a lot of cost, you know, from a manufacturing standpoint? I don't know. Probably not, but it sure does look nice, and it gives this effect to the knife that's I just really appreciate. So I actually really like that it's full and that they milled those out. And so here's the kicker. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness, because it's not thick. Blade stock thickness on this guy, yeah, under 1/10 of an inch. Not much there. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Overall weight on the CJRB Ria coming in at 2.2 ounces. That's nothing. Nothing. It doesn't matter what your reasoning is. You're behind like the dimensions, whatever you want. This is an easy to carry item. It is not cumbersome. It's not thick. It doesn't weigh a lot. It doesn't matter if you're wearing leather pants, if you're wearing athletic shorts, skinny jeans, regular pants, khakis, whatever. You can carry this knife in pretty much any circumstance, as long as locking blades are legal in your area, and blades that are, some places you can't carry a blade under 2 inches. But for the most part, just about everybody can enjoy this. Just about. So that's fantastic. Let's go ahead and do the hardware check. Oh, I'm excited for the hardware check. Get on my tools here. You can pick up my tools in my description. They are inexpensive and very useful. I've been using these for almost the entirety of the life of the channel. T8. Let's check that pivot. You'll notice there's no pivot color. I kind of like that, CJRB, that you just did away with the pivot color on this guy. T8. What do we have down here? Probably T6, right? Nope. That one is also a T8. There's only one body screw, and they're both T8. I'm so happy about that. Now, the pocket clip screws are still T6. I give that a pass because of, it's the pocket clip. It's not necessarily something you have to take off of there, but even if you do, just be careful with the T6 pocket clip screws. But yeah, one screw, and it's T8. That's great. I'm so happy to see that. These button-head, I always talk about polished button-head T8 screws. Love it. Love the style of it. Love how they look. Love how they feel. I guess to the touch. The screws feel good to the touch. That's welcome to a Metal Complex knife review. But mostly because they're T8, and it's much less likely to... So maintenance on this guy is going to be unbelievably easy. Bravo, CJRB. I messaged them, and I was like, thank you so much. This is wonderful. I really, really am happy with that. So that's great. All right, moving on to the anatomy. We can see here we have this ghost jade scale. I like this color. This is a polarizing color. You either love it or you hate it. There's not too many people who are like, it's okay. I could learn to love it. No, you either absolutely hate it or you love it. Fortunately, there are other colors. Black, gray, and I think there's one other color, right? So you can pick the one that you want. I like how this looks. It is contoured. It is very smooth all the way around. There are no sharp edges or anything like that. It's just wonderful to engage with. No issues there. The thumb stud is, as far as like the shape of it and how easy it is to engage, it's just perfect. I got no issues with the thumb stud. We have a satin finish blade on this guy, and oftentimes I complain about satin finishes because of this right here. There's a little bit of sharpness up there. I honestly would have liked to see this tumbled, but I don't know. In this case, we kind of, maybe I'm being, bamboozled by how many other things that I like about this knife, but the polished liners right here, in contrast with the polished blade, I think it actually kind of works. It's kind of, in this case, I am kind of visually attracted to the overall shininess of this knife. It almost seems like the whole thing is just glowing. You know, even though these aren't glow scales, I think it's a combination of the jade, the polished liners, and the blade. So I'm okay with it. I would have liked to see it tumbled, but whatever. It's a little bit sharp back here. It's not that big of a deal. This is a fully flat ground blade. It gets nice and thin down at the edge. I'll let you guys see out to the tip, and then the edge. Wonderful. Fully flat ground. Using this knife is an absolute joy. It slices. It's got plenty of blade for EDC. Fully flat ground. I love flat ground blades, and it's got a little bit of belly. The edge is done well. The edge is definitely sharp. It didn't come with any nicks or rolls. Really, really nice. This is like really creating a new bar for, you know, I mean, CJRB in general. I mean, my favorite budget knife of all time, for me, is the large feldspar. But man, I mean, the only difference here is that I just prefer a slightly larger knife than this. But this has so many elements that were done just right. Like, they're really pushing the boundaries of, like, what you should expect. You know, I just have to imagine that every time CJRB comes out with a new model, other knife companies that are trying to keep up in this budget knife market are like, come on, how are you doing this? Like, how is this possible that we have to keep up with this now? You know, not to say that you shouldn't buy from anybody else other than CJRB, but man, it's just so much good here. I'm so happy about this. It's great. The CJRB logo, I've said this before, it needs to be smaller. There's nothing wrong with the logo. Just make it smaller. Like, it's so, you know, it's almost taking away from the aesthetics of the knife a little bit. It's fine that you want to put CJRB on there. Just make it a little bit smaller. That's my thought there. Get rid of the serial number and China. I know it's made in China. Everybody who buys this knows it's made in China. There are other Chinese knife manufacturers who do that, and they find another place to put China. Don't put it on the blade. It just bothers me. But I'm from the United States, so maybe I'm biased, you know, just not one, like, not because I'm like, you know, hating of other countries. I'm just saying I'm from the United States, so I don't mind seeing USA on my blade, but I don't want to see anything else on any other blades. So my reasoning there is just a little bit flawed. But another thing that's interesting here, take a look at the steel. 12C27N, not D2, 12C27N. For anybody who doesn't know, unless I'm mistaken, that's a Sandvik steel, and it's actually made for folding knives. Will it hold an edge as long as D2? No, but it's substantially easier to sharpen, and it's actually stainless. This is a better steel for a folding knife in this price range, period. I am 100% on board with CJRB moving all of their D2, all their models, just move them to 12C27N. I mean, obviously they can't just snap their fingers and do that, right? Yeah, if we start seeing new models from CJRB come out in this steel, in this price range, yeah, I'm on board 100%. It's a great steel, especially for EDC, for what people are going to use this for. Fantastic. People who are new to the knife world don't want to jump in spending $100 or $200 on a knife, right? And they're going to maybe teach themselves how to sharpen a blade. Yeah, 100%. This is going to be an easy blade to sharpen just for the geometry and also for the steel, and it's not going to break the bank, you know? Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's go ahead and talk about, oh yeah, there you go, the lanyard bar there. It's kind of a loose, it rotates, right? But it doesn't rattle, so they got it just tight enough, right? That's nice. It acts as a standoff, and at the same time, it's there for people who want to use a lanyard, which is basically nobody. There's like 3 guys left who like lanyards, and that's fine. I'm not judging you 3 lanyard guys. You're welcome to watch my channel. There's no lanyard content here. It's out of the way, and it's unobtrusive. The standoff looks great. That's a nice looking, honestly, it kind of looks like a standoff. I've seen a standoff that looks just like this in a $2,500 Strider custom. Does that mean that Strider's like skimping on material? No, because it's just a standoff, right? Maybe that one was titanium and this one's, or I mean, it's just a standoff. It's not, we shouldn't be judging other brands based on that, but it's nice and they polished it. It looks good. It's doing its job. Plenty of integrity here, no flex or anything like that. Look at this pocket clip. Oh my goodness. CJRB. This pocket clip. Let me get out a crappy pocket clip from CJRB. Not that anything that they've made has been bad, because again, we're looking at like the $35 to $40 price range, right? So I can't complain too much, but here's an example of a pocket clip that I didn't like so much. They started recessing the screws. That's nice, but we got this dip and bill. That catches on stuff. I don't really like that as much. But this pocket clip, this has the swoop that I like. What is the swoop? This right here, it comes down and then comes up. It's less likely to catch on something, and because it is up and not there, it will ramp up no matter what material you're pushing it over. It will catch that and ramp up without being this big thing, this big bill that can catch on something and bend out. And that's what they've done here. They've got a little bit of a swoop, right? So it's going to get over the pan material. It's a nice symmetrical design. It's deep carry. The screws are recessed. You did it. That's what I wanted. That's exactly. I'm not saying they were like, what does Metal Complex want? Let's definitely redesign the... No, that's not what happened. They just, probably collectively, amidst the other people in the community were saying, I don't really like this clip. And they did that. And the clip looks nice with the design. It's polished and it goes with everything else. This is so easy to get in and out of the pocket. I'm in athletic shorts right now, but I was in jeans, when I picked this up. No problem. No problem. Love that clip. It is steel. If it catches on something, it will bend, potentially break. But what can we expect from this? This is the budget knife world, right? As far as like what they could do to make a clip perfect, yeah, they did make that clip essentially perfect. I got no issues with that clip whatsoever. Non-show side of the pivot looks fine. If you are left-handed, you can definitely do the reverse flick. You just can't carry it, in your left-handed pocket because you can. It's just not quite as safe because of how the blade opens up. But yeah, left-handed people, you definitely can do the reverse flick. So the thumb stud, you can also just remove it because there's a screw on the other side. So that's kind of nice. Centering. Are we centered? Yes, we are, folks. We are centered. Lockup. Is it solid? It is solid. We've got, I think, is it a little tiny bit of shouldering back there? Yeah, there's a little, maybe just a little tiny bit. Maybe it's flat, doesn't really matter. Lockup, about 50%. Solid. So what can I complain about here? What is it that I feel like I can complain about? I mean, it's not for left-handed people, right? CJRB's logo needs to be a little bit smaller. I don't want the serial number and the China on there. It's satin, but it goes with the rest of the blade. It's a little bit sharp up here. That could be knocked down a little bit. That's it. Those seem like stupid complaints. Like, seriously, just hearing myself, well, the logo. You could make the logo smaller. It sounds stupid. Buy this knife. I mean, usually at the end of the review, guys, I say, here's who it's for. Here's who it's not for. Overall, can I recommend it in general? Is this a good choice? Okay, this is obviously a good choice. For $35 to $40, this is an excellent choice. If you just really hate small knives under a certain length, I guess it's not for you. But this is a knife that I can recommend to almost anybody. If you're left-handed, that stinks. But if they made a left-handed version of this, then oh, definitely. But yeah. This is one of the greatest things that the budget knife world has ever churned out. And CJRB has gone, they didn't even have to. They already were making some of the best budget knives that were available in that price range. And there were a lot of elements that this knife has that some of these other ones don't. They were like, let's just go ahead and just go a step further. Yeah, this is a bar. A bar has been set in terms of little design elements that I want to see. I'm hoping that this gets implemented on other CJRB knives, and I'm honestly hoping that many other budget knife brands follow suit. Take a note from the CJRB Ria. There's so much good here. You're not gonna miss. You're not gonna have buyer's remorse. You're not gonna miss that 35 to 40 bucks. Oh man, there are a lot of people who are getting CJRB Rias for their birthday and Christmas this year. As far as my family goes, definitely. My family and friends just know, they expect that they're going to get knives. And I like to get them good budget knives. This is an excellent knife to get somebody introduced to the knife world that has everything, the part of the knife world that's not M-Tex and Frost Cutlery and Bud Cake catalog nonsense, right? You want to introduce your friends or family members to an excellent folding knife, and if they're going to pay for it, something that doesn't break the bank, or if you want to just buy this for them, this is such a good example. It will set such a good example. Like I said, links in the description for this knife and all the variants. Pick this up. It is worth it. CJRB, you've truly created something excellent here. This is definitely the only reason that I prefer the large feldspar over this is because I like knives that are a little bit bigger. But on days where it's more appropriate to carry a smaller knife, you bet I will carry this over the large feldspar. In many cases, this is just a better all-around EDC knife for the average person because of its size, because of a lot of these elements. This is wonderful. Buy this knife. I don't normally say that. Definitely pick this up. You don't have to use, I mean, my links are there. You don't have to use them. I mean, if you, it doesn't matter where you buy it from, but this is recommendable. Guys, this is the end of it. I'd love to sit here and ramble and talk about how much I love this, but we have to stop because we're at 20 minutes and I've said all that I can say. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that metal complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.